Hands full of tea and midnight snacks, I turn the kitchen light off with my nose. Wading through the dark, I find you wrapped in rose petal sheets. In sleep you bloom. The laughter lines that usually prick the outsides of your eyes are smooth and peaceful. I nuzzle that nose of mine into the nape of your neck, releasing the stress that lodges there and breathing in just a little snatch of the strength that lies there too. Lengthening your spine, pushing your shoulders back, your courage. The heat glistens on the road like a riverbed. We take it in turns to carry the rucksack. You go quiet when you're struggling. The pollen is ruthless today. It squeezes tears out of your eyes, and every time this happens, whether it's hay fever or chopping an onion, my heart begins to hurt. You drink from the bottle with your head craned up towards the heavens. Despite the urgency of your thirst, the water falls into your mouth without a single splash. Watching you reminds me of a child I once knew. I used to write his name wherever I went, etched into pavements, rubbed into mud, stroked into wet sand. Each time I left it behind, I couldn't stop myself from looking back, and when it was almost out of sight, I'd call, "See you later." We reach the park and our feet cry out with relief as they sink into soft and cool ground. Sweat drips from my armpits to my elbows. We stop beneath an oak tree, stretch out upon a carpet of crisp packets and empty cans, and watch the fat flies jazzing and dancing above us like clouds. You sing me happy birthday at the top of your lungs, and you don't care who hears. You squeal and wrinkle your nose when we kiss, because mine is wet and salty like a pup. On the 10th of January he was born, and on the 11th of May, some years later, he died. My birthday is 12th of March. Mum once told me that the reason she struggles to celebrate my birthday is that she gets depressed between the day he was born and the day he died. She listened to Macy Gray and wrote poems about listening to Macy Gray and about how much she missed him. I gave up trying to mark it some time ago now, because when I think about it for more than a second or two, the grief comes back so sharp and real that it might as well be another person standing beside me. So once there was no one left to hold me to account, I started to pretend it was a day like any other. It's midnight and there's a searing pain in my arm. Macy Gray is playing in the background as you gently poke my bicep with a needle. When you're done, a tiny moon shines out of my skin. We go for a walk, and as we step outside the front door, you stop and hold your breath, and I'm scared something is wrong until you whisper, "I've never heard it so quiet." We spot the moon. I say spot, how could we miss it? Off to the right over the railway tracks. It's gold and swollen, just starting to wane but still almost full. We agree we need a better view. We reach the railway bridge. Here the moon droops low and oozing over the skyline, and I reach out to pluck it like fruit from a branch. We lean against the mesh, sticking our noses through the holes, edging ever closer. I break my gaze to find you rummaging in your pockets. You pull out a lighter and place 2 tea lights on the railings by the road. Before you've managed to light the second one, I'm sobbing. You hold me as if I would fall without your arms around me. With your free hand, you scratch his name into the railings, right between the 2 flames, and the clean, newborn metal radiates silver moonbeams. You wipe the tears from the end of my nose and kiss me. You don't care that I've snotted all over your coat. One of my bogies is stuck to your cheek. "Shall we go home?" you ask. We stumble down the road like wounded soldiers. Your arm is tensed and I feel the strength of you. When we reach the corner, you stop like you know I need to say a proper goodbye. The tea lights wiggle and somersault. "They're winking at us," you say. The darkest hour doesn't actually come before dawn. We lie awake, skin on skin, hearts pressed so tightly together that I can't tell which beat belongs to who. Earlier I spent 10 minutes sitting on the toilet just staring into space, in complete awe of you and scared stiff that somehow I'll fuck this up. Don't you ever let them go, I told myself. Now your nose is nestled in my ear, and every exhale rattles off the walls of my skull like a warning. The morning brings a different world, one that is usual and hurried and empty of magic. I walk down the same streets as last night, but nothing feels like it should. I peer down the drains and wonder what forces have hidden themselves away beneath the grates. Back on the bridge, the tea lights remain like the trace of a spell, the wicks burnt down to hard black dots. Undisturbed, they fizzled out naturally. His name is faint and thin now, but we know it's there.